I'm Jack. Every year I go on a hiking trip to camp in different mountain ranges with my friends Lydia, Tom, and Mary. This time, we decided to go to the Eagle Mountains. I started packing excitedly a week in advance. This trip is especially meaningful to me. It's my temporary escape from reality and the endless schoolwork and exam stress. The day finally arrived. We met at the train station in Prague. Lydia was teasing Tom for not getting a new backpack. I was a bit worried about being the last one to arrive, but fortunately when I got there, Lydia, Tom, and Mary were already waiting for me. We've been friends since high school, and have kept up the annual camping tradition even though we're all in college now. This year, our destination is Eagle Mountains. We'll take the train to Vampirk first, then hike from there. That night, we found a small cabin to spend the night in. Tom started complaining about how annoying it was to set up the waterproof tarps. He doesn't talk much usually, but once he starts grumbling, he just can't stop, as Lydia often says. Sometimes I wonder why he still comes camping with us every year when he's always so sullen and irritable. We quickly tidied up the makeshift campsite. The sun was slowly setting and a thick fog was rolling in. Mary and I were putting up the tarps when we suddenly heard Lydia scream. Tom asked what she was making such a fuss about. Lydia looked horrified and stammered that she thought she saw someone in the woods. Mary rolled her eyes, took out her phone to check, and sighed that there was no signal. I suggested we all go to sleep since it was getting late, but Lydia kept staring anxiously at the woods, as if some horrifying thing could emerge from the darkness any second. I've had chronic nightmares for a long time, so I never sleep well at night. On top of that, it was chilly and damp tonight, with the fog swirling around making me very uncomfortable. I decided to get up and move around a bit. Lydia's sleeping bag was empty while the others were still asleep. I took out a sandwich to snack on and sat on a bench under the shelter. After a while, Tom also woke up and asked where Lydia was. I said she probably went to the bathroom or something, I wasn't sure. Eventually, Mary got up too, and we were all a bit concerned. Tom urged Mary to try calling Lydia, but Mary pointed out there was no signal. We waited another hour, but Lydia was still missing. Finally, Mary suggested we go to the police. We saw no other option but to pack up and head back to town first. The thick fog obscured the entire landscape so we could barely see where we were stepping. Everyone fell silent, wondering what could have happened to Lydia and imagining various possible scenarios. Just then, Tom tripped over a wooden bench and cursed out loud. I couldn't believe it. We were back at the little wooden shelter we took cover in last night. We had gotten lost? Mary decided we should form a line and search the woods around here for Lydia. We took off our backpacks, keeping only our flashlights, and entered the forest. As dusk fell, Mary suddenly spotted the ruins of a church standing tall among the trees, its white plaster walls creating a stark contrast against the surrounding timber. This place felt eerie. We quietly approached the moldy wooden door. I pushed the door open and went inside. There was a dark red, moth-eaten carpet on the floor with a few amber pews scattered alongside. A grand golden altar stood at the end of the carpet. At first glance, it looked just like any ordinary church, until we took a good look at the huge religious paintings on the walls. Mary said her grandma used to take her to church services when she was little, but the saints in the paintings didn't wear those white masks. Just as Mary finished speaking, Tom and I realized what was unusual about the paintings. All the saints had white porcelain masks covering their faces. It was extremely creepy and bizarre. Just then, I thought I heard muffled shouting from Lydia coming from the basement. I immediately ran to a metal hatch in the corner, opened it to reveal stone steps leading down. Without hesitating, I went down the stairs. The basement was dark, damp, and full of scurrying rats. My flashlight swept over a workbench. Then I saw Lydia. She was tied up in a corner, her head shaved bald with garish makeup smeared on her face. With a gag in her mouth, she could only make muffled groaning sounds. Mary and I quickly worked to untie the ropes around her. As soon as she was freed, Lydia yelled that we must escape immediately before it came back. That was when I noticed Tom was missing. Damn it, I muttered under my breath, then raced back up the stairs. But it was too late. Tom was lying dead on the floor with a pair of scissors stabbed in his back. We broke down in desperate tears, utterly shocked. But then Mary noticed a figure standing at the entrance. In a creepy, almost childlike voice it said, "I will make you all beautiful." We were terrified and instinctively jumped out through a broken window on the other side. I went first, then Lydia, followed by Mary. Just then Mary shouted, "I think my leg is broken." The masked person was approaching us. Lydia and I exchanged a look. We knew it was up to us to save ourselves now. We sprinted away as fast as we could while Mary's despairing cries echoed through the woods. We just kept running and running, into the endless fog and skinny trees. We came upon a clearing where the trees ended and an open plain stretched out ahead. We were horrified by the gruesome scene before our eyes. The plain was filled with countless giant crosses, each with a naked, bald corpse nailed to it, its face painted red across the lips and cheeks. "This is hell," I whispered shakily. Just then, I sensed a white figure stalking up behind me. Thankfully, Lydia quickly grabbed a large rock from the ground and hurled it, striking down the masked person. We cautiously walked over to examine the unmoving body. Driven by curiosity, Lydia removed the bizarre mask, revealing an ordinary-looking man in his 30s underneath. As Lydia picked up the mask in her hand, I noticed a change come over her. She seemed to suddenly understand something and silently put the mask over her own face. She came over to me and said she finally grasped what true beauty is and that she would make me beautiful too.